Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do here is cut some thin strips on the bandsaw of the hard maple that I'm going to put in the middle of the cutting board. I think the easiest way to do this on the bandsaw, because not only do you get the straightest cut, but you have a thin kerf on the blade, so you don't waste any material at all. Now just take a quick measurement to the length you want, and make sure you make it oversized, because you're going to be running these through the jointer and the planer, and if you have any snipe, you want to be able to eliminate that. Now we're going to start to run these through the jointer, and this is an important step, because when you joint these boards, if you don't have a flat surface, when you do the glue up, they'll never sit right and be flush together. And if you have any spaces in between, that's where all the bacteria and everything's going to start to live in that cutting board. We don't want that. Now I can start to cut the strips of the oak to about the size that I want. I'm going to go 3 inches here, and then I'm going to stagger oak and maple in between to make a nice pattern for this cutting board. Now when you lay everything out in the direction you want, you have all the grain going the right way, just make a line, like a reference mark with the pencil, in the direction that you want everything. This way, when you take everything off to rejoint it and close up any seams, you can put it back in the correct order you had it. Even if you flip some pieces over here, this is where it's going to help. Now that everything's glued and jointed together, we can start to tighten the clamps, putting even pressure. Always, try to do an alternating pattern with the clamps. Put, one on the bottom, one on top, then the next one on the bottom, and try to get it, sequential. This way you have even clamping pressure on both sides. Now you can see I clamped everything all up for the cutting board. I put these coals on the bottom here to pull everything flat. This way when I run through the surface planer, I do have a flat surface on the side that I face jointed, and then we can co-plane and make everything parallel. Alright, so I'm going to let this set overnight, and I'm going to scrape off all the glue, run it through the thickness planer, and then we'll cut it to size, route it, treat it, and we'll be done. Okay guys, so I let this set up for about 7 hours. Got some good dry time on this thing. Now I'm going to take off the clamps. We'll see how good we did. Okay, we got a nice glued up surface. Cutting board's coming out really nice. It's going to look really good once we run it through the thickness planer. Before we do that, I want to clean off some of this glue. Just take a nice sharp chisel and just work it right off. Being careful not to gouge into the wood. And it should come off relatively easy because it hasn't set for more than 24 hours. So it's kind of still a little bit soft. This is the best time to take it off. Now you could do it like this, or you could even take a card scraper if you got one. Chisels work fine. Now just a few passes through the planer to level the whole surface and make everything parallel on both sides. This way we have a nice and level, no ridges, no bumps, and we have a nice smooth surface to go on. Now that I've planed it and everything is completely flushed, all glued up, it's ready to go, I'm going to trim off the edges here with the crosscut sled, and that's going to be the final dimensions, and then we're going to sand everything down, and then I'm going to soften the edges with a router, then we can treat it. I'm just going to use my palm router and a 1/4 inch round over bit just to soften the edges. Now just a little bit of hand sanding to fine tune it before we're ready to put the oil on. Make sure you use a nice tacky cloth, clean, get all that sawdust off. Now that it's all clean, you want to just use some food grade mineral oil or some food grade tung oil and really get this into the grain, work it in there, move it in a circular motion, back and forth, and you can see the cutting board actually looks like it's starting to pop now. The grain's really coming to life. Okay guys, that's it. So this project is done, turned out great. Nice, flat, straight, thick piece of wood. It's 1 1/4 thick by 11 and 15 long. So it's going to make somebody really happy. Nice cutting board. And what I'm going to do is finish it off with some butcher block conditioner. This has carnauba and beeswax in it. I'll seal it up with this and you know, condition it when somebody buys it and I'm ready to ship it out. So before that, I'm just going to let the oil soak in a couple more days, wipe it down if anything seeps out, and that's it. But as of right now, it seems to be pretty dry. I let it dry out for 2 days, and everything's nice and flush. Nice pattern, thick. I want to get into doing some more cutting boards with end grain, where we'll, you know, laminate everything together and then cut it up, flip the pieces over onto the end grain, make it more like a chopping block, like a butcher block. If you notice behind me, you'll see some really thick hardwood up there on the rack, and that's going to be the next project, and it's a huge project, and that's going to be a really fun video, so I hope you guys join me for that. So I hope you had as much fun watching the video as I did building this project, and I hope to see you next time. And I just want to say welcome to all the new subscribers, because the channel has grown extremely large amount in the last couple of weeks, and very happy, and I hope you guys can bring more people to the channel. If you turn somebody on to the channel that is into woodworking and hasn't found the channel yet, send them over here and we'll welcome them aboard. All right, guys? So I'll see you next time.